So you're thinking about bringing your parents over to Australia for good. It's a huge step, and today we're going to unpack one of the main pathways, the Subclass 103 Parent Visa. But I've got to tell you right from the start, this is a journey that really requires patience. Let's get into it. Look, at the end of the day, this whole process is about one thing, right? It's about reuniting your family. It's not just about filling out forms, it's about closing that distance and sharing your life in Australia with the people who matter most. So let's make sure you have all the facts. Okay, so what is this visa exactly? What does it actually mean for your parents if you manage to get it? Let's take a closer look. Right, so the single most important thing to get your head around is that the Subclass 103 is a permanent visa. This isn't just a long holiday. This is a one-way ticket for your parents to settle in Australia for good. And you'll see that word settled on the screen. What that really means is the child sponsoring them has been living in Australia legally for a while, usually about 2 years. And what's amazing is what comes with it. I mean, we're talking about the whole package. Your parents can work, they can study, and crucially, they can enroll in Medicare, Australia's public healthcare system. It even opens up possibilities to sponsor other relatives and, eventually, even apply for Australian citizenship. Now, the benefits are fantastic, no doubt about it, but, and this is a big but, there is a massive hurdle you have to know about. Let's talk about the single biggest challenge with this particular visa. And here it is. This is the reality check. The number of families applying for this visa every single year is it's way higher than the number of spots the government actually makes available. So all that demand creates this incredible bottleneck. What does that actually mean for you and your parents after you've sent in all that paperwork? Well, here's how it works. The government puts a cap on how many of these visas they'll approve each year. Once your application gets the initial green light, it doesn't get processed. Nope, it gets put in a queue. And because so many people are in that queue, the wait times are, honestly, they're astronomical. We could be talking decades. All right, so knowing you're in for a seriously long wait, it's also really important to get a handle on the money side of things. The base fee right now is $7,345 for one parent. And remember, that's just the starting point. You've also got a budget for things like health checks, police clearances, and of course, extra fees if you're including more than one family member. Now, the good news, if you can call it that, is you don't have to pay all of this up front. You pay a smaller chunk when you first apply, and that's what gets you your spot in the queue. The second, much bigger payment is only due years and years down the line right before they're about to make a final decision. And please listen to this. This is straight from the Department of Home Affairs, and it's not a suggestion. Do not, I repeat, do not sell the house, quit jobs, or book any flights until you have that official visa grant letter in your hands. Seriously. Okay, so we've covered the wait time and the costs. Let's quickly walk through what the application process actually looks like on the inside. So they basically break it down into two main stages. Stage 1 is the first check, to see if you meet all the basic requirements. If you do, boom, you're officially in the queue. Stage 2 happens, well, a very long time later, when your number is finally called. Only then do they pull your file for that final in-depth assessment and make a decision. Just a couple of quick but really important details. Your parents can apply whether they're here in Australia or still overseas. You have to include every family member on the form, even if they aren't coming with them. And of course, everyone applying has to pass the standard health and character checks. No exceptions. So, let's fast forward. You've paid the fees, you've survived the epic wait, and the visa has been granted. Hallelujah! What happens now? What does life as a permanent resident actually look like? This is a super important detail, especially if you're thinking about citizenship down the road. The permanent residency clock officially starts ticking on the day the visa is granted if your parent is already in Australia. If they're overseas, that clock starts the moment they land in Australia for the first time on that new visa. Now, here's something you really have to pay attention to. While the residency itself is permanent, the right to travel in and out of the country is not. The visa initially comes with a 5-year travel facility. So what happens after 5 years? Well, your parent is still a permanent resident. That doesn't change. But if they travel overseas and want to come back, they'll need to apply for something called a resident return visa. The other option, of course, is to become an Australian citizen. That gets you an Aussie passport and lets you travel as much as you want. Given that the ridiculously long wait time is really the main story of the Subclass 103, you absolutely have to know that it is not your only option. And this table really lays out the big trade-off. It's time versus money. You've got the Subclass 103, lower cost, but painfully slow. Then you've got the Contributory Parent Visas. The contribution is a very large payment that fast-tracks the whole process. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars more, but the processing is much, much faster. And finally, there's a temporary option, the Sponsored Parent Visa, which is the quickest way to get them here for a long stay, but it isn't permanent. So the takeaway here is that you have a real choice to make. If getting your parents to Australia quickly is the #1 priority, and if you have the funds, the contributory visa could bring them here decades sooner than waiting in that Subclass 103 queue. And that really is the question at the heart of the Subclass 103 visa. It offers that ultimate prize, a lifetime together in Australia for a lower price tag, but it demands an unbelievable amount of patience. It's a massive decision, and I hope this has given you a clearer picture to help you make the right one for your family.